Here we are doing the Pentacles. This is the Ace, the beginning of things. Pentacles are ruled by the element of Earth, and they have to do with money. Everybody likes that. They have to do with health, believe it or not. Anything to do with the physical or tangible world. They could also have to do with job, career, your salary, etc. So when you see the Ace, you know that it's the beginning of something to do with one of those things. It could be that there's a source of money coming in. Maybe it's from a brand new job. Maybe it is a small loan, although that's usually covered in the Six of Pentacles. Now, if someone asks me about how much, I might say, oh, around up to $3,000. Again, I use my intuition to try and get a number. But this is always a good card for people to see, especially if they come to you and they're in financial straits. The Two of Pentacles is pretty apparent. You've got a person that seems to be dancing around. They have two pentacles going back and forth, juggling them. Basically, this is the, rob Peter to pay Paul card. It is balancing of a checkbook. It is being very careful with your monies, but having to move them around to make them work for you, so that this is not a situation that is permanent, but it is somewhat temporary until basically the ship comes in and finances have settled down. The Three of Pentacles is a very interesting card. Here you have what looks like a craftsperson working on a church. They are looking at maybe the clients, maybe the architect of the church, the people who are watching what goes on. Now, this could be in the in building any kind of structure or any kind of project where one person is a craftsperson and people come to them for their expertise. Now, some people think of this as the apprenticeship card, but it isn't. It's the Eight of Pentacles that could be considered the apprenticeship card. But because this person on the bench is so wise and knowledgeable in what they do, that more money comes into them because of word of mouth, or they're just very, very good at their job, and a lot of people seek them out for what it is that they do and what they're good at. So the Three of Pentacles to me is a very good card for someone who is out there who maybe has their own business, works on their own, and that they have integrity, honesty, and they really know what they're doing. When you come to the Four of Pentacles, you have an interesting fellow who's balanced on two pentacles there. He's got one on his head. Now, to me, this is a card of someone who's had money come in, but they're so afraid to spend any of it, the money is not in circulation. And we all know with the law of attraction, you need to put money out there to have it coming back in. This is the miser card. This is the person that is too afraid to spend any of their money. They keep it very tightly close to them. They might accumulate it, hide it under the mattress sort of thing. Maybe they're hiding it from the government. But if they just, you can see the pentacle that he's holding on, if he could just spin it and as a frisbee, just let it fly away, then the money is going to once again be out there in the universe and come back threefold. Sometimes I see this card as someone who has headaches. Somehow I'm reminded of the crown that's on too tight, it's too intense, it's too heavy, it hurts. And so this is someone who worries about money a lot, and they will hoard it, no doubt. The Five of Pentacles, as in most of the fives, is not necessarily a happy card. You can see two people trudging by a church that has a tree of pentacles. The pentacles in the church window stand for spirituality. What this person might be going through is a job loss or a loss of a home, loss of something that's very important to them on a physical level. It could even be loss of health. I call this the codependency card also because it shows me sometimes that one person is far too dependent on another, and that's caused great problems for both of them. And one person seems to be carrying the burden, and the other person just is like tagging along for the ride, but neither one is doing very well. So when this card comes up in a reading, you let people know, okay, loss may have happened, but there are always doors that open. When a window closes, other doors open, and to reassure them that this is temporary and this too shall pass. This is not a permanent situation in their life if they can keep from getting emotionally caught up in the situation and letting it drag them down to the bottom. Just keep going, keep moving along, one foot in front of the other, and things will change. The Six of Pentacles to me is a card of someone who's possibly, and I'm trying to get the reflection off of there, someone who's possibly gone for a loan. Maybe it's a school loan, maybe it's a scholarship. It reflects the idea of give and take. It's the card of the philanthropist. It could be a family member is helping out one of their other family members who's temporarily in financial straits once again. And you can see that this gentleman is holding the scales, and by getting the scales back in balance, then it's a win-win situation for both, because one does not need to hold on and hoard to many when they can help others, and in helping others we help ourselves. So it's a very, very positive card for both. And the prediction of this card is that worker health can be solved in the way of a gift, and a gift might be coming. The Seven of Pentacles, we've all had projects, or we've all had situations. Maybe we've started an internet business, we've put a lot of money out there, and or we put money in some kind of fund or a banknote, and we're ready and waiting for it to come to fruition, but there's nothing we can do for right now. It means that we have to stand fast, we have to trust in the universe, and then let the money begin to flow. Or even if one is working on their health, or they're even undergoing chemo or something, to wait for the treatment to start taking effect. One has to be patient, but everything is out of the hands of the querent, and they really, really have to wait and see what happens. And this is where it's very difficult for people to let go and not want to step in and try and fix it or move it along. It's like pushing the envelope. You can't do it. There are just times where you have to rest and trust. I call this the Let Go and Let God card. Seven of Pentacles. We come to the Eight of Pentacles, and it really has two meanings for me. Now, this card could represent an apprentice or someone who possibly is mature. They've been in a career before. Maybe the career has had to change, and so they're starting all over again. It's a starting all over again card, but working hard to not give up, to keep working at what you're doing, and then the benefits will flow in. Now, it could also represent a craftsperson or a person who definitely knows their business and that they have a lot of successes, but they have to still keep working hard. They just can't sit back and wait for things to happen like what the Seven of Pentacles represents. This person needs to get in there and get things moving, and to really, really put a lot of effort and hard work into their business. It could be in putting hard work into their health. Maybe they need to run. Maybe they need to, really change their lifestyle for purposes of better health. But again, I don't see this as one of the negative pentacles as in the 5. I see it as a card of hard work, and I feel like if someone came to me, just keep at what you're doing, and it's really going to pay off. That's the 8. We come to the 9 of Pentacles, and as in the 2 previous cards, where the 7, one has to wait. In the 8, one has to work hard. In the 9, the ship has come in, so to speak. Here's a woman in her garden. She seems to have everything. She doesn't seem to be concerned about too much. You know, the home is in good shape. The health is in good shape. All the hard work, and even some of the worry, it has just flown out the window. It's a very good time. It could really mean a very good retirement where people have enough money and there's no fear of the money running out. So with the 9 of Pentacles, even though 9s represent endings, they also represent completion, and to me they represent, you know, almost taking time to pamper yourself, go on vacations, you know, live a good life, you know, live it in moderation, but just enjoy the fruits of the labor, and, you know, enjoy the fact you're finally able to have the things you've always wanted to have. That's the 9 of Pentacles, part of completion. We get to the 10 of Pentacles, and this to me is a card of real estate. It's a card of a lot of money, whereas, you know, the Ace of Pentacles might represent some amounts of money coming in, rather small. This could be a trust fund. This could be a payout in a lawsuit. But most definitely this is a card of rather large sums of money. How much money? It just depends on the intuitive feeling of the reader. And you can see the man is sitting down with his family around him. You know, he's the patriarch. They're able to enjoy what they have, and there's a lot of money in the bank. You know, if it has to do with the sale of a house, this could mean that the sale has gone through and the money is very substantial and forthcoming. It's not necessarily about a loan. It could be about an inheritance coming in. So this is a very wonderful card to see if someone has started a business and it's really taking off and bringing in a lot of income. When you think of Microsoft and Bill Gates and how they started out and then how it ended up, you know, this could be represented by the 10 of Pentacles. A very wonderful card. We get to the page, or the court cards, and Pentacles, you know, represent dark-haired people, could represent foreign people, you know, foreign cultures, and the eyes can be dark or light colored, but very often, you know, I've had a reading where the King of Pentacles has come up and someone has told me, well, you're going to marry a foreigner, and well, that hasn't happened, you know. I don't think I've ever even met anyone that, you know, might even fit that bill. So you have to be careful about, you know, taking the meanings of the cards and applying it. That's more like a card reader, not an intuitive. The pages are about messages. They're about younger children. You know, with a message, obviously this is a message about money, or a message about health, or a message about possessions, things that one has. I always see pages as the seeds of things starting out and, you know, starting to bud. Whereas with the aces, you've really got beginnings, new beginnings. You know, with the pages, I see things are in their infant stages, and that to me this card represents, you know, possibly a young child who's very solid, but, you know, they could be somewhat dull, not necessarily so, but they plod along. They get done what they set out to do. They're finishers. They can be relied upon, even as a teenager. You know, these kids are pretty, you know, right out there as far as their parents can trust them, that sort of thing. Now, some people see this card as, you know, money going in and out, but I don't. I see this card also as someone who might be in school or is thinking about taking classes, not necessarily as a younger person or a teenager, but even in the more mature years, they've decided to go back to school or take a class or two. So often when this card comes up for me, I'll just look right at my client and say, I just feel like you're going back to school. That's not always the case, but sometimes it comes to me very strongly. When you get to the Knights, remember that Knights are about action, and in this case, the Knight has taken the action. They have the money, but they're still trying to figure out what to do with it, how to invest it or reinvest it. The Knight is a very solid young man, just like the Page. They can be relied upon, somewhat serious sometimes. They don't necessarily move very quickly, but like the tortoise and the hare, you can always depend upon the Knight to get to where they're going. And he fears not having what others have. And you'll find this in the court cards with the Pentacles, is that with the Pentacle court cards, the people represented, they very often want to keep up with the Joneses. They very often don't want to be embarrassed or maligned in any way. They want to have a pristine reputation, you know, squeaky clean. So they really do everything they can to avoid scandal or anything of that matter, whereas a Knight of Wands might have a tendency to get involved in things that will come back at them in a negative way. But with the Knight, you can, what they say is basically gospel. They won't lie to you, they'll tell you the truth. They're pretty trustworthy, like I've said, and personality wise, you know, they may not be the most exciting person in the world, but these are good. When you get to the Knight and the Kings, these are good people to marry. You know, they can be depended upon, to be stable, keep the money coming in, and they're good people. It doesn't mean that they're so dull that they're horrible to be around. This Knight has planted the fields. It's just been harvest, you know. Once again, like the Nine of Pentacles, this person is steadily employed and very much enjoying the fruits of the labor. This is a health card as well. This card represents to me good health. Represents to me someone who really watches their diet, and they might walk or they might jog. They might not be real aggressive in the type of the exercise that they do, but they very much are concerned with their health issues. This card might also represent someone who needs to do a cleanse or needs to eat more greens. This is what I get from the card. And once again, you'll notice the suit of armor being very strong on this Knight of Pentacles. They will protect themselves in just about any way that they can. So they can tend to be somewhat ruthless if they feel like they're being maligned, as I said before. If they feel like something's coming at them of a negative nature, they will do just about anything they can inside the law to keep that from happening. We get to the Queen. The Queen, as one of my teachers said, is the woman that has everything. Well, I don't know if everybody has everything, because there's always something missing in life that needs to be worked for. But she is a woman who either could juggle home and career together. She is a woman who also is very fertile. You know, she can have children. So this is the working mom. She makes good money. She could be a single mom, but she's most often married. Again, this person will try to do everything to keep their reputation squeaky clean, and that she doesn't have problems taking care of herself. A lot of single women do have problems with that, but she's either gone to school or she's managed to start a business that is really, really bringing in the money. Very practical, very down to earth. She also could have, you know, darker coloring. You know, the earth signs are Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, and so they're very solid. She likes to dress well. She spends a lot of money on clothes. She can afford it, but she's very much into her family as well, so that she'll spend a lot of money on her children for lessons and that sort of thing. She usually doesn't spend outside of her income, but she could like get very close to tipping the scales on that. That's the Queen. Coming into the King, very much like all of the Pentacle Court cards, he is solid, he's down to earth, he's practical. Now this card could represent a couple different types of mature men. He could be in the crafts, he could be a telephone lineman, he could be blue collar, but by the same token, or the other side of the coin, he could be someone to do with big business or a businessman. So whatever this person is doing for a living, and the Kings can also represent, I haven't mentioned this before, represent a very, very strong woman. But for me, most of the time, when a king comes up, it represents a gentleman, a man. You can see with the bull right there, this card is ruled by Taurus. Very steady, very strong, can tend to be somewhat stubborn. Once again, they will really, really go all out to safeguard their interests. The money is in the bank, but they continue on. They're not apt to retire anytime early, and they really, really do look at continuing to make money even when they already have a lot of money in the bank. They're very much into their family, very much into the children. But the King of Pentacles can be a very strong disciplinarian, just like the Queen. They love their family, but they don't put up with any nonsense. Okay, so once again, the Pentacles hate being embarrassed, and they do have a hard time forgiving anyone that causes them any embarrassment. But they care about their friends. They will look after their friends if anyone comes to them for help. But if there's a loan that's extended, you know, watch out if it's not repaid. So to me, the King of Pentacles is a very, very strong individual, much like the Emperor, who really rules his kingdom with an iron but a loving fist. Has money, is very solid, and has no problem making money. Even after hard times, they just go back out there and start making more money. So there you have it. There you have all the minor suit cards. And next we're going to go into the patterns of all the numbers, like the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, etc. And we're going to do the Celtic spread layout, and then I'm going to do, you know, a practice reading for you to see how it's done.